Travis Wayne Goodsell. It's going to be the women's session this time. And so, no, I didn't. I didn't upload that video for you, did I? I'm sorry, but feelings do not equal the spirit. Feelings are a response to what you believe is the spirit. And that's what we're talking about here, is about creating our own God. If we just believe and we never seek and find, then what we have done is created our own God in regards to deity, if we believe in a God. The Church of Jesus Christ now has a new slogan, a new idol, new insignia, where Nelson explained that the Church of Jesus Christ of Latter-day Saints is the cornerstone. And he has a block there that's supposed to represent the cornerstone, and then the church is printed within it. So the church is the cornerstone. He made that very clear in the conference that he pulled that stunt in April. And so then he put the Christus on top of it. Now, he didn't put any of the paintings of Jesus or any of the video Jesuses, a snapshot of them, or whatever it's called. But I hate fake people. And there are certain people who speak at conference who try to put off an image that's not them. And the Young Women's president is one such person who's clearly putting off a fake image to us. You know, whether it's because she's scared to be in front of the public, I don't care. I just don't like it when people are fake. Because they're deceivers. And you can't trust them as a result. They're lying to you. And that's what people do when they create their own God. They go around telling everybody, oh yeah, God is great, God is love, God is this, God is that, He's perfect, He's awesome. He's the greatest. My favorite book is the Gospels because God is great and awesome and cool and blah, blah, blah. You know, people are fake. They don't know God. They just believe. And as a result, you know, people have created their own idol God. If you don't know the real God, you've created an idol. You can't gaslight the rest of us and get angry and violent or condemn us and curse us to hell or whatever it is you do. Oh, we'll just agree to disagree. No, I refuse. You're trying to gaslight me. I am not going to agree that we can't agree. I will not concede. And with the Nelson, he then put a statue of Jesus. He didn't put a regular person representing Jesus, like a painting. Well, even a painting is like a sculpture. And even a digital photo is like those things. It's just a different art medium. And that's the whole point, is that all the pictures of Jesus in the Mormon Church, all of the statues, all of the images, etc., whatever art form they are, that's all they are. It's just idols. They have no power in and of themselves. And yet Mormons, you know, will tear up when they see the Christus, or want to get their picture taken with the Christus when they used to have the visitor center. And that's great and all, but what about other stories? What about other scriptural stories? For example, one of my favorite stories is the story of Bel. It's an apocryphal story. It was in Joseph Smith's Bible. Benson said, we use the King James Version because that's the version Joseph Smith used. But we're taking out the Apocrypha because it contains the name Nephi as some spirit demon. And so we don't want it in our scriptures because we don't want Mormons to be confused. And so, in the story of Bel, Daniel is with Nebuchadnezzar, and Nebuchadnezzar says, Daniel, why aren't you worshiping Bel, our God? Our God is great and powerful. He eats the food we set out for him every night, because in the morning it's gone, it's been eaten. And so we know our God is real. See, Nebuchadnezzar had the belief that his God that he had created, which was an actual creation of a statue that was in the Holy of Holies in the temple, probably of Marduk, the ziggurat. But he believed in God, that God was great, God was good, God gives us chocolate cake. Oh, pudding pops, how thou hast fallen. Anyway, and so Daniel then, destroys his church, destroys his God. How dare you, Daniel, you anti-Babylonian? Doing YouTube videos exposing how the Babylonian religion is false? How dare you? And so what Daniel does is says, okay, well, let's do an experiment. We'll test this. Let me get some flour, powder, substance of some kind, and I spread it out all over the floor of the Holy of Holies. And then the king sealed up the doors of the Holy of Holies, and made sure it was extra sealed, welded or whatever shut, so nobody could ever break in. Well, they had to get in the next morning, so I guess he had a key. But yeah, they went to bed, and then they got up in their morning, and they met at the Holy of Holies, and Nebuchadnezzar then unlocked the doors and opened them up, and sure enough, Bel is the true and one true God, one true God, one true God. The food was gone, it was eaten. And so, yeah, in your face, Daniel. Daniel goes, look at the floor. There are footprints. Where do these footprints lead? So they followed the footprints, and they found a secret passage in the Holy of Holies. Like, holy crap, there's a secret passage in the Holy of Holies. Where's Indiana Jones when you need him? And they go into the passage, and there's a tunnel. Whoa! Spiders and levers and booby traps. No, none of that. But they follow the tunnel, and they come up into the tent of the priests. The priests had been playing a prank on the king, letting the king believe that the God was real, that the God was eating the food day after day, when it was the priests who were eating the food. Now, there's nothing wrong with that, because the priests got to get paid and fed somehow, but the way in which they did it was to deceive the king. And as a result, the king was furious, slaughtered the priests and the families and the children of the priests. And so thus the true God of Daniel is the one true God. no, that's not the conclusion, even though that's what the biblical author is trying to tell us. All it means is that Bel is a false god. It's just an idol that King Nebuchadnezzar created out of his own mind. There is no such Bel. And that is the lesson of the story of Bel. So why can't that be people's favorite story about deity? Not to create your own god. It's mine. Why can't it be yours? See, because people dispute who Christ is. Is he a Trinity God that's supernatural, so that as supernatural, we as natural cannot comprehend the supernatural, and therefore cannot comprehend that we cannot comprehend? Or is he a natural being? Three separate personages with the Father and the Holy Spirit. Which one is true? Well, if it's the three separate personages who are physical beings, now we can test it. Now they have to appear in the flesh in order for it to be true. We can't just throw it out there. Oh yeah, he's physical. Yeah, okay, sure, he follows natural law. Yeah, okay, sure, why not? Well, he has to appear now. That's what. You can't just say something. You have to back it up. You have to have the evidence. You got to have the fruit of the seed you're claiming. And that's where religion goes awry if they don't show their God. And so, as I try to tell Mormons that our actual God, who was murdered for us, is Osiris from the Egyptian gods. And Mormons don't like that. They've got their own God, and it's the only true God. No other God before my God. Well, why then do we break the bread for the sacrament in remembrance of the broken body of the Christ? Because if you look for the Gospels and try to find where his body is broken, you're going to be out of luck. And so, just think about that when you decide to go to war over your religion, your belief in God. You're going to force it on other people and shame them and put mean, abusive comments on their YouTube channel. My God's better than your God. And I'm going to tell it to you. And I'm going to put a thumbs down because I disapprove as a religious bigot. And I have the religious freedom to be a religious bigot and hate you and try to murder you and destroy your life because I have religious freedom. Yeah. That whole religious freedom movement, that's where they want to go. They want to take away other people's rights. They want to destroy Judaism. Get rid of those Jewish holidays. Only have Christian holidays. They want to get rid of the Muslim holidays, especially. Ramadan. Don't want those. So yeah, they're going after them too. And Kwanzaa of Africa. That's why Christians get so offended when you say Happy Holidays rather than Merry Christmas. And all of a sudden they say, oh, you're declaring war on Christmas and we're going to destroy you. We're going to prove our God is better than your God. When you take away the rights of life, liberty, and property of others, you are in the wrong. You are committing the crime. You are violating your own religion, I'm assuming. Unless there's some kind of clause or footnote in your scriptures that says, well, unless it's a heathen. Love one another unless they're a heathen. Unless they're an unbeliever. Then you can slaughter them. And you are justified according to your belief in your created God. And the religious freedom movement wants to give religion that freedom and right to take away others' rights. That's why Trump has been trying to get rid of anybody with color in their skin. Because they believe in another God. They're the enemies of Christmas. Which, by the way, Christmas, Christ, Anointed One, Mass, means to dismiss. The Christmas was the dismissal of Christ, because it was the last Mass of the year. So yes, this is the dismissal of Christ. But then they have other Masses throughout the weeks and throughout the year. That's all it is. It's Mass, the dismissal. And nobody catches on. Catholic is the downward motion of the whole. From cathode rather than according to, as they've changed it so that they can have katamation, katalukas, katamarkas, kata Johannes for the Greek. The downward motion of Matthew. I created a song back in high school when I first learned about that. Was it in high school? No. I was at university in Lethbridge, just taking a Greek class, and was looking through the library trying to find something, and stumbled across another book that defined kata, and probably in the class also was where it was brought up again. And Thomas Robinson was asked, doesn't it also mean downward motion? Yeah, we're not going to discuss that. He was a great teacher. Alright, so, yeah, think before you believe. If you don't turn your beliefs into reality, if you don't see what the results are, Oakes, white supremacy all the way, recognized every single word that came out of his mouth as white supremacist. What are the results of acting on what he told you to do? Oh, well, if I'm the victim, I'm supposed to curl up in a ball and die. That's what he wanted. Because I caught my full attention because he said, you need to go through the courts, file a lawsuit. Your First Amendment right to petition for a redress of grievances. And how well has that been for me, President Oakes? The first time I sued the church, Judge Benson came down and said, dismissed with prejudice. Never even got to present my case. The second time I sued the church instead got the state to sue me. I never went to trial. Disappeared for 6 years of my life for filing a petition for redress of grievances as Elder Oakes told us to do. Yeah, my whole life gone. But I'm out. I shouldn't be out. It was supposed to be for life. It only ended up being 6 years because there were a number of key retirements. In the AG's office, in the medical doctor's office, or the psychiatric doctor's office, and the evaluator. Yeah, I passed? What a surprise. They not put in the notes that you weren't supposed to go by the book? And so, yeah, I'm here. And now I'm having to sue. And what happened in the first time I sued when I got out again? Dismissed with prejudice because I was using an ad hominem. No. Those were pictures of the keystone of the ark of the door of the Salt Lake Temple. It's carved in stone. The other one is this eagle gate, carved in metal now, I think, isn't it? So forged in metal. Oh, good. She's doing Chutes and Ladders. Oh boy, I've got that game, by the way. It's all boxed up because of that first case. As the co-conspirators, the property manager, tried to have me killed. See? When you have certain beliefs that are wrong, you tend to do the wrong actions. And it causes a lot of problems. They expected me to curl up in a ball and go, "Oh, please have mercy on my soul." But I didn't. I protested. I stood up for my rights. I got the evidence, and I sued. But the church had wad-ups who refused to recuse himself, as he obviously is Mormon. And so, yeah, the second one says, oh, Waddups didn't recuse himself, and so he dismissed my case with prejudice, despite the evidence that he denied me to present. That's treason, because the defendant, go back to the origin of the threat to America, and right now they are activated with the coronavirus, as it's in the Book of Mormon for the date of when all this would happen. So, yeah. That's this current one. And so, Oaks, yeah, he can get on there. Oh, yeah, go through the courts. Yeah, sure, Travis, take it to the courts. Don't try to kill us. Oh, that'd be bad. Yeah, okay, you tried to murder me, but I can't defend myself. I have to go through the courts, of which you control the judges. Yeah. Because self-defense is a crime. And I've been watching Rizzoli and Isles, and now I've been watching Bull, and I see it over and over again. People who were defending themselves. Oh, sorry, we got to arrest you and take you downtown and lock you up. The judge will determine whether, or jury determine whether you were self-defense or not. We just execute the law. We don't judge the law. Oh, dear God. So, yeah, you have to have correct beliefs. You can't just go around saying, oh, this is what I believe, you can't judge me. You have to allow me to do whatever I want. You haven't been in my shoes. You don't know. You don't know me. None of that flies, guys. Because, like I said, there are certain precepts that when people speak, it automatically sets off red flags to those of us who know that that's not just wrong, it's dangerously wrong. Mein Kampf, it's a great historical literature, but you don't want it promoted as acceptable. It is wrong. Anton LaVey's Satanic Bible. Yeah, I'm sorry, you'll have to accept it as a historical literature, but you don't want to promote it as acceptable. That's the thing with the Confederate statues. They're just statues, and there's no symbolism of, like beheadings of the Union forces or a reenactment of shooting Abraham Lincoln to promote that. It's just, the general on his horse, and the General Lee, and with the flag and whatever. But you don't want to promote those outside of a historical setting in the context where they can be informed of as historical, but wrong. So in a museum, you show the flag and you say, this was the flag of the traitors of America who tried to overthrow America and install a monarchy, to overthrow the Constitution, who wanted to promote slavery, when America was realizing that slavery in the Constitution needed to be changed. When you correct the information to show what is right and what is wrong, then yes, keep it in a historical context. You don't want to erase Confederacy and the Civil War from our history, because you're doomed to repeat the errors. And so we can't just ignore what happened in World War II Nazi Germany. Because right now, Trump and Stephen Miller, the neo-Nazi, self-proclaimed neo-Nazi, are reenacting all those patterns of acts in World War II's Nazi Germany right here in America. And people at the beginning were saying, hey, this is Nazi Germany stuff. And of course they responded, oh, how dare you! And then they cowered. Oh, we're sorry. We won't do it again. And so, yes, they get worse. And the people go, oh, man. They had no spine to stand up to them and say, it's not right to separate families, lock them in cages, put babies in cages, and sell off the kids to white Christian families while the parents get shipped back home to where they came from. That ain't right. It's not political, as they want to tell us. Oh, it's just politics. You need to change that with your vote in the upcoming election. Oh, the one where you rigged it with gerrymandering and ballot suppression and tampering and Russia's help with online hacking and advertising campaign to brainwash and misinform and disinform the American people. And so now it's, the new judge, everybody's again worried about DACA in jeopardy and abortion rights and all sorts of other stuff. With abortion rights, dear God, seriously? Both sides have it wrong. You're looking at the consequences. The woman's now pregnant and she wants to have an abortion. You forgot about the cause. How did she get pregnant? Was there a crime involved, or is she legally and lawfully wedded? The husband has sex, legally and lawfully, doesn't cheat on his wife, this is his wife, and they have a baby. And the Republicans are saying, oh, these women are trying to destroy the family, trying to murder babies. But the Democrat women, I'm losing my voice again. I can't put on a show. They're like forgetting, well, what if I get raped? And the Republicans say, no, you're not getting raped. Boys will be boys. See, there's a crime. And this justice system has failed. They're not prosecuting these guys as rape victims go unchecked. And so if there's no guy being accused of rape, there is no rape, and so now you've got a girl who's pregnant who wants an abortion because she doesn't want the memory of the rape. But now you got the Republicans trying to defend the rape baby. But they don't say rape baby, do they? It's a human life. Yeah, well, the human life was the woman who got raped. Her life, liberty, and property are gone in that one act. That's what Republicans are so cruel and inhumane, that they can't conceive that any criminal action would justify stopping an illegal life. And they don't stop and think, did the man who raped her only have one sperm? Is that all he put in her? What about all those others swimming around? They died. Huh? Shouldn't they be upset with the man for all of those sperm not entering into the egg? Do I seriously have to give sex education to the Republicans? And what about a woman, girl, unmarried, but once a month she slaughters an egg? And it's very painful. She suffers for it. The cramps and the bleeding, the mood shifts. The woman suffers. Do you just call her hysterical? Put her on drugs for bipolar disorder? People can be so cruel, so abusive, and it's just got to stop. And it all stems with beliefs. People are not free to believe whatever they want, because people act on their beliefs. That's why our belief systems must be correct. We must be educated correctly. We must not be taught incorrect precepts and principles from the beginning, where the parents are therefore responsible. When I was serving my mission for the Church of Jesus Christ of Latter-day Saints, the Mormons in New York, 19-year-old kid, and I'm there in Flatbush, Brooklyn, I think, or am I in the Bronx? No, or Newburgh. Yeah, it was Newburgh, Poughkeepsie. That's where Joseph Harnes was, and it was the same city where Joseph Harnes. So Poughkeepsie, doing tracting or something, where we were out in the streets, and in the distance there were a group of little kids. And one of the kids comes running up to us and stops about 6 feet away from me, and then looks up, obviously. He was just a little thing. I don't think he even reached my kneecaps. So cute. But he looks up stares. Just stares. He's silent, dead silent. And he's brave. He's just staring at me in the eyes, looking me straight in the eyes. And time goes on, and I'm going, okay, is this going to lead to anything? He's a child, and I don't see a parent around, so I shouldn't try to buddy up with him. But then he speaks. You've got devil eyes. And then he turns and runs back to his peers. And I was like, oh, okay. So I see how he was taught. Because my blue eyes, which are rare for me, I should have brown eyes. Because if you know about the color of the eyes, according to the parents, I should have brown, because brown is dominant. But I got blue, which came from my mom's dad's side of the family, I think. Or was it my mom's side of the family? I think my mom's, because that's where I got my thick hair, was from my mom's dad. I shouldn't be 6'5" either. I should be 5'11", somewhere around there. 6 feet maybe. So it was through my mother's side of the family that I have my uniquenesses that are not consistent with the rest of the genealogical lines. But that little kid had been taught to look a person in the eyes, and if they're blue, they're demons. Devil eyes. That's how he was taught in his family. Is it over with after 40 minutes? What? Oh, okay. Halftime. So understand that when you teach incorrectly to people, when you teach people that it's okay to hate America and want to overthrow it and turn it into a despotism, an authoritarian despotism, and a monarchy, to take away the rights, liberties, property, lives of others, that's not right. If you can't have it equal for everyone, you can't have it. It's not right. Because when you establish a discriminatory system, whether it's financial, whether it's governmental, whether it's religious, you're gonna have conflict. People are eventually going to say, hey, I don't like being a slave. I don't like being compliant and complicit to your abuse. Women's suffrage, civil rights movements, eventually it comes crashing down on you. That's why doing the right thing the first time is the best system. And when people try to interfere and set up a system that takes away agency of life, liberty, and property, they are the enemy of mankind. They want to destroy. They don't want people to have life, liberty, and property. And they justify it. Oh, well, you're not full human. You're an animal. You're some other criminal. You're a pervert. You're whatever ad hominem they want to use on you to categorize you. And if you give in and say, okay, you can call me that, but you need to call me this. You can't call me these other words. I speak specifically of LGBTQ plus now. I mean, seriously, guys, plus. It's just different forms of masturbation. Do I need to give you guys sex ed? It's not sex if you're not having babies. Gender, gen, comes from the word for sex. Sexual unions producing offspring. Gender, genealogy, generations. Hello? But yeah, it's the same situation. Why are you believing that your DNA is wrong? You're science deniers. That's supposed to be Republicans. Assuming that there are no Republicans who are also LGBTQ. We're all human. All equally deserving of life, liberty, and property. And yet the bullies insist on segregating us so that the laws get specifically made to discriminate. And that's why they do it, is that if the Democrats fall for it and say, okay, oh, we have this new group that's being bullied that need protection, so we're going to make new laws to protect this now new group, then you got to keep doing it, and keep doing it, and keep doing it. Because the bullies keep bullying and bullying, find new groups, new ways to segregate and discriminate. You know, librarians who wear glasses. You know, leave them alone. You know, we stray from the core of the issue that the bullies don't want addressed. We're all human. And the only one that is difficult, that cannot be equal, is the sexes. That's it. Sorry, women are different than men, men are different than women. It can't be helped. You can't equalize us. That's the only frustration. But religion are allowed to discriminate. They just can't commit crime. And so no sex trafficking with polygamy. You know, no theft through tithing, protection racket, pyramid scheme scams of missionary service. As long as they just preach the gospel and people are freely giving donations, everything's fine. Church of Jesus Christ of Latter-day Saints isn't happy with that. More, more, more. Give me some lovin', give me some lovin'. Oh, they're praying and reading the scriptures. Yay, they're doing the outward token obedience. See, this is all the idol worship stuff. They get you addicted to having to keep reading your scriptures. Keep reading until you feel something. And then they get you, because then you have to go to work and you're not able to read the scriptures, so then you're stressed. And I've seen guys, one particular guy in the older singles ward, who quit his job because he wanted to dedicate himself to reading the scriptures to feel the Spirit. If at our age, as an adult, you don't know the voice of the Spirit, wow. I'd check out a different religion. I'd still check out a different religion if you're Mormon, because this is what they're teaching. And they think that, oh, if you read your scriptures and you pray and you'll then do good things. You know, you'll brush an old woman's hair, you'll walk with a little girl. That's what they're showing. and then therefore you're a good person. You're Christ-like. And they distract you from the slavery and bondage that you're in, the trafficking that you're in, the extortion that you're in. That's the great deception. Alright. It's Irene closing. I'm at 45 minutes, but watch your beliefs. Don't just believe because you claim that's true, or your beliefs are true because you believe. It's circular reasoning, and it's false. So